No one cared who I was until I put the mask on. Was that over the top too? A little bit too much? We're really getting a lot of Batman references. Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, there's going to be a My Little Pony edition of What You Missed news. Now, the first question a lot of people are going to ask is, Proto, are you a brony? No, and I'm not lying to cover that up. I have a daughter. She likes kids shows, children's shows. She likes My Little Pony, things like that. There's a My Little Pony movie, and I got this in a Happy Meal. Since it's October, this is my continuing commitment to dress up in various costumes for Halloween. So, first news story I want to jump into is that Hatsune Miku is going to be showing us the future of PC case mods. As you can see in the article here, we have Hatsune Miku dancing in the PC case, and it's like kind of a hologram, kind of a digital 3D rendering, which is really cool. I think that's awesome. So right out the gate, awesome stuff coming from the future. I don't know if this is going to really be the future for PC case mods or anything. We'll have to see that in the real future. It seems to take up a lot of room, and it's quite silly at the end of the day. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. Next, it seems that a former Naughty Dog employee was allegedly fired for reporting on sexual harassment. So this is what they said. This is David Ballard, and that was an environment artist that worked at Naughty Dog for 2 different stints between 2009 and 2016, and they were writing on social media this weekend, being a victim of sexual harassment led at the Sony-owned PlayStation studio, best known for Uncharted and The Last of Us. You guys know that stuff. So I'm gonna have to talk this out. It's gonna be a long stint, so stay with me here. So, quote, in late 2015, this is David Ballard speaking, I was sexually harassed at Naughty Dog by a lead. My work environment became extremely toxic afterward. In February 2016, I had a mental breakdown at work and Sony PlayStation HR became involved. When I told them about the harassment, they ended the call and fired me the next day. They cited the company was moving in a new direction and my job was no longer needed. They tried to silence me by offering me 20 grand if I signed a letter agreeing to the termination, as well as not to discuss it anymore. I declined to sign, and I've been unemployed for 17 months since. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's interesting that stuff like this happens. This is an alleged case because it has not been proved, and several employees came forward anonymously saying that they had no idea that this had ever happened. So this is going to probably blow up in the news later on, and we're going to find out what really happened. Until then, I guess just keep an eye out for it, because this person has declined to answer or talk about this anymore when Kotaku tried to reach out for them for comment. Moving on, we have Xbox One news. There's a fall update that has come out, and apparently it's going to add a whole slew of new features. There's a lot to this story. There's a lot of things that you can do. You can have up to 40 pins on the home screen, dark and light, high contrast theme options, personalizing your home screen, as I've discussed before. That's really cool stuff, and if you want to know about all of that, you can go ahead and check the story in the description below. Again, this is probably because of the impending arrival of the Xbox One X, which will probably copy the Xbox One's theme in its intro stages and then build off of that one, just like the 360 kinda has done as well. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. That's really cool. I appreciate the continued support and updates that I receive for the Xbox's gaming line of systems. So the Super NT is a 1080p Super NES that doesn't use emulation. So if you guys don't remember what the NT is, they've done consoles before. This is kind of on the heels of these SNES and NES classics that are coming out. There's a big gap and a field between systems that use emulation to allow you to play your NES, SNES games, and it's strange because a lot of people really love to be able to slot a cartridge in, but it seems that these emulation machines, these RetroPie type systems, are taking over the market. Which I agree to at the same time, because a lot of people would rather, instead of having an entire library, having to pay like $50 to $60 for some old games in cartridge form, they would rather just have them all in ROM form. They would rather not have to keep up on the locations, keep up on cleaning them, replacing batteries. They just rather have it, turn on the console, press the button, launch the game, you're in it. It's easier for children to do, it's easier for adults to do, and so that's why these consoles are taking over. Well, this one seems to have a cartridge slot, and perhaps you're going to be able to do the full 1080p with lag-free, zero signal degradation, according to the manufacturer, which is really nice, but I'll believe it when I see it. And again, will it be lag-free and input lag-free? That's a good question. Be on the lookout for this. If you're really big into the Super Nintendo, this is probably a system you would want to get. Nintendo is reportedly encouraging mature titles on the Switch. I think this is obvious. We have Doom and Wolfenstein coming out. These games are the creme de la creme of mature games that you could be putting on your game console, and they seem to be doing it. So if they're putting these games on their console, what other games would they not be willing to put on their console for whatever reason? I think the line would be at like pornography or just very gross and vile games, and that would be it for them, because if you put Doom on your Nintendo Switch, that's it. Rip and tear, blood and guts. I mean, there's not really much further you can go with that. However, I do have another story for you. And Doom is getting the release date for the Nintendo Switch. That is coming up November 10th. So if you guys are interested in getting Doom for your Nintendo Switch, again, if you played it on other systems, great. Thumbs up, 10 out of 10. Yay. It's probably best suited to be played on your computer, but it runs very well on the PlayStation as well as the Xbox One. If you want a mobile version of it, that's something you can pick up. If you've never played it before, again, something you can pick up for the Switch. But I do have another story later on about Wolfenstein that I want to talk about, but we have a few more stories before that. So there's an article about the controversial return of Mega Evolution and what it means for competitive Pokemon. Now, I'm not a big competitive player. A lot of people didn't like Mega Evolution, but I have this to say about Pokemon and Mega Evolution and things like this, okay? You have Pokemon, and it is a strategic tactical game. When you introduce something OP, you must also introduce something countering that. If your opponent is going to use something like Mega Evolution, then you yourself will more than likely have to use something like Mega Evolution as well, which would mean it would counter itself out. That is the idea behind the principle. Now, for me personally, when it comes to competitive Pokemon, I think simplistic is better. If you can play Pokemon without using any Mega Evolution, without using any Z moves, and you can still win, that's 10 out of 10. But since the introduction of so many unique and interesting and overpowered moves, it becomes kind of silly and redundant to introduce more OP things. I really do think there should be a callback to a more simplistic competitive formula, but then again, I'm not a competitive player. For me personally, if it was more simplistic, I would play it. I don't like to use any type of rule sets. I don't like to go into tournaments. So yeah, I could probably go to a tournament and play a simplistic version of Pokemon, but that's not really what I'm interested in. I would just like to be able to fire up my system, play online anytime, and be able to access a simple competitive battle scheme. That's how I feel about it. I know a lot of other people feel different things, so it really becomes dependent on you what you think about competitive battling. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and we'll move on to the next story. Finally, I want to conclude on this, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. Okay, I'm gonna take off the mask, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. This is a pretty serious subject matter. Just like earlier was serious, but I just can't. This is really getting on my nerves. Alright, so the new Wolfenstein 2 ad shows a Nazi getting punched in the face. And it says, quote, there is only one side. Okay, so they say, if you are a Nazi, GTFO. Now, there's almost no one who will defend this. Everyone says Nazis are bad, you should destroy all Nazis, things like that. We know why Nazis are bad. People are very upset at this, though. There's a small amount of people, I don't know why. But I think that the real reason they're upset behind this is because Nazi has been kind of a word that social justice, progressives, liberals have thrown at people who have ideas where they think free speech needs defended at all costs. And the word Nazi has been thrown around quite a lot and been used to be like, this isn't that big of a deal. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're a Nazi. You know what I mean? Like, it's lost a lot of its power and influence. So there are people that were upset, and I mean this. I'm not going to show the tweets on Twitter because I really don't feel like blacking out all of that stuff, because I'm sure they'll report me for privacy infringement. Even though I would win the case, I really don't want to go through that. You understand? The point is that a lot of these people are claiming that Wolfenstein are SJWs, people at Bethesda are SJWs, progressives, who are labeling people as Nazis, and they are using their game as kind of a projection onto society about Nazis and trying to shut down free speech and stuff like that. And they're going under the guise of hashtag not all Nazis are bad and things like that. That's what they're saying. So I'm gonna say this. I wanna conclude on this. If you are in the camp where you believe free speech applies to everything, you say you can do whatever you want, good for you. Thumbs up. At the end of the day, this is a game about killing Nazis. No, I mean it. This is literally a game about killing Nazis. You shouldn't be upset about that, because it's literally a game about killing Nazis. This is not metaphorical. This is not figurative. This is not, oh, we're talking about how fascist people are, how racist people are. No, we are literally talking about a game where there are guys, swastikas, guns, they take over the world, and you go and kill them and you defeat them. Stop being upset about this. This is not an ad from a video game company where they are jumping into the political spectrum. This is literally a game about killing Nazis. Okay? Alright? So, if you were confused about that, there you go. If you don't know anything about Wolfenstein, Google's your friend. Google's your friend. If you're watching this right now, you can use Google. Maybe you can't. I don't know. I don't know how you would watch this and not be able to use Google, but there you go. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's this episode of What You Missed. I do not like the feeling of this. This is real sturdy plastic, but it doesn't feel good on my head. Once again, no one cared who I was until I put the mask on. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Leave me a big thumbs up if you did. Leave me a thumbs down and some constructive criticism if you didn't. Let me know how I can make this episode better and other episodes following this one. Thanks for watching. I've been your host, Protomario. I'm signing out. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, good gaming, God bless, and thanks for watching again. I don't like the mask.